guys? Welcome back to Misfit HQ.
Yo.
Hunter, Drew, Sherb, Seth here to discuss two things today. Very, very, very important. We have the finale of the Open. It's all over. We'll talk about how it went.
Goodness.
Yeah. Well, it was a long 5 weeks.
Only 6 more months to go.
That's true. And the other thing we're going to get into, which is probably more exciting, not really exciting, but more interesting for most of you guys, is what the post-Open cycle entails. So giving you a few details on that so that you can hit it as effectively as possible. We'll cover both topics in this podcast. Before we get started, Sherby.
We're going to have on April 1st, the individual and team remote coaching packages now available on the site.
On the 1st?
On the 1st of April.
You're not tricking me, are you?
On the 1st of April, individual and team remote coaching.
Applications?
It is an application. There's exactly 6 months between the end of the Open we just did and the next one, which is a perfect amount of time. Sharpen your skills, get yourself ready to go. So get those emails in. We look forward to seeing.
Ooh, sharpen. That's an interesting
Sharpen,
segue,
huh?
isn't it?
Oops.
Sharpen your skills.
Go for it.
The biggest, baddest sale in Sharpen the Axe history is happening April 3rd to April 5th. Spring cleaning sale, everything in the entire store, even brand new shit. Look at this. Look at this. Some other goodies will be on sale the day that they are dropped.
Wow. And
we keep trying to outdo ourselves, which is challenging. So there's more and more in that 50, 60, 70% off bracket this time. There's some really good stuff in there. We got some cool shit on the way for summertime, which I don't know if it happens up here, but I've heard it happens for the rest of the people out there.
Somewhere.
So April 3rd to April 5th. And yes, before we get flooded with questions on Instagram, the sale will be live at midnight. And if you don't stay up on Tuesday night for that,
shame on you.
You're probably not going to get your size in any of the stuff that's 50, 60, 70% off, and knowing you savages, maybe nothing.
Those West Coast people are really going to love that.
They are.
They are.
It's a 9 p.m. action right there.
Wow.
So sharpentheaxeco.com, new stuff, sale, biggest sale we've ever had, April 3rd to April 5th.
Tuesday midnight. Let's go.
Tuesday at midnight. It's actually Wednesday at midnight? How does that work?
Yeah, technically Wednesday.
Wednesday at 12 a.m.?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That
Be
day.
at your computer at 11:59 on Tuesday waiting for the 1 minute countdown.
Got to be ready.
Hunter Wood, I've heard that there's a really cool affiliate program website.
Yep. TeamMisfit.com for all your affiliate gym programming needs. April's programming is now live, and that actually encompasses, for the competitor program, all of the post-open cycle. So you get 5 weeks this month. Pretty excited about that. We've also added to the site, if you guys are interested, we've always had the free sample weeks for you to download and take a look at. But if you shoot us a message and are interested in seeing what the upcoming week looks like, we're happy to provide that to you guys. So log on to the site, shoot us a message, teammisfit.com or at Team Misfit Gyms on the gram.
Ooh,
Nice
go.
job. Live, coming direct to you. It's already up there. You already know about it, but in case you forgot to go get it, the competitors program, for those of you that are getting ready for a sanctioned event or really any competition, it's 7 weeks long, 6 weeks of training, 1 week of deload. So even if your event is coming up within a month or so, you could still use this. You could use the first handful of weeks and then skip ahead to the deload week as you approach the competition. It's a cycle built for you to go from wherever you're at now to getting you peaked in that window the best way we know how. So that's available for individuals, teams, and if you're a master athlete looking for the online, or teen, correct, looking for the online qualifier program, that's there as well. So really, we're offering it all. If you ask me.
Go get it.
Basically, it's all there. It's on the website under the workouts tab. I think I'm correct about that.
New tab, workouts.
Yeah. It's less confusing than ever. We're continuing to make things easier for all you guys. And on top of that, I do promise it is coming. The app is currently in review. Tim Cook is holding it up. It's on his desk. Timmy Apple.
Oh, Timmy Apple. Let's go, guys.
He submitted
Steve
the
Jobs is
file. It's
holding it
on
up.
his desk. He's coming back from vacation from the Maldives very soon. He's going to look at our suggestions. He's going to, approve it, and then we'll send it out to everybody. Free download. You'll basically have a better version of mobile for yourself, and we're still working on improving other features for that for all of you as well. Okay. Wow. I'm tired. What are we supposed to talk about again today?
Oh, they
Gotta
all
read that
open.
list, huh?
Oh shoot!
Oh, yeah,
I got my
Did
random
you
number
send it to
generator
me?
ready.
Oh, hang on. Wait, Sherb, you're supposed to email me. Did I get an email from you?
I think so.
I don't know. I did.
Check your spam.
All right.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah, it's in spam.
Spam at
Blocked.
Misfit Athletics.
Blocked. Why do I gotta sign in to see your list?
Guys, it's
See
exclusive.
that custom
Goodness.
leaderboard.
It's
So your
exclusive.
custom leaderboard, this Misfit Top 20 Men, that's
Yes.
what you want me to read?
That
That's
and women.
What
Let's
I'll
go.
do. Okay.
You're just saying that because you're on there?
I'm flying through this list.
Wish I wasn't.
First through 20th. Here we go. Sam Quant, Chandler Smith, Jonathan Wall, Nate Long, Travis Williams, Austin Spencer, Nick Matthew, Jordan Cook, Aaron Osborne, Gio Contreras, Holly Holgerson,
Let's go.
Luke Conan, Cody Mooney, Brian Harris, Kenneth Hart. I don't even want to say it. Matt Sherburne. Wow.
He wears vests.
Dalton
I do.
Mankin,
Love a good vest.
Jonas Olsen, Luke
Where's that?
Cuneo. How do you say that?
That's good. I think so.
All right.
Cuneo.
I ruined that. Marcus Musenix. I've said it wrong every week. I'll continue. Robbie McCord is 21st. So you're,
Bonus
job.
number.
you're my honorable
Bonus.
mention, Robbie. Well done,
You have my
sir.
spot. Let's
Well
go.
done, sir. All right, ladies. The more important leaderboard. Here it comes.
Sorry, guys.
Only because
Kenzie
you're on the
Riley.
men leaderboard.
Danielle Brandon, Alexis Johnson, all individual game qualifiers there. Very cool. China Cho, Caroline Connors, Jess Griffith, Gigi Sabatini,
Beast.
15-year-old, 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Her times in these workouts made absolutely no
Go
sense.
look up Gigi's
They were like 2 or 3
scores.
minutes faster and just with a little bit lighter weight.
Just so you guys know, in the final workout, she did it
I'm
in
embarrassed.
6:44. Just to
Beat Matt Frazier by 9 seconds.
yeah, just so you all
What did
know.
she do 19.3 in? Is it
like 4 minutes?
6:53. Just so you guys feel good about yourselves.
Sherb, can you
Pretty
do
sure that's
50
like
handstand
14 or
push-ups in
15.
6
I'm pretty sure I got off the wall at
I'm not
6:53.
confident that I could beat her with
Madness.
that weight.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
Wait.
Moving on from Gigi, Taylor Nisley,
No way.
Lauren Suver, Rebecca Voigt-Miller, Paige Semenza, Mickey Nuccio, Alana Savage, Hannah
Got
Hardy,
PTSD for that.
Stephanie Simons or Simmons, Lizzie Bell Bruno, Mikkel Escobar, Tia Gould, Jill D. Giampalo, Gabby McClellan, and that's it. That's 20. No,
Boom.
lots of honorable mentions, but sorry.
Don't cheat, Hunter.
Sorry.
The cup.
Oh, shoot. Okay, it's time now. What's the random number generator for? We're giving
Since
stuff
that wasn't
away.
me.
That's the
Miki this
second
week.
half, right?
This
That's the second
is... Is it Mina or Mina?
Here, dumpeth.
Don't look.
This is for the
Every
top
week
20
you look.
again.
Every week.
I had to
you-
do this by myself last time.
Yeah, I bet you definitely cheated then. Picking your favorites.
All right.
Is it me?
Ooh, the goat, Rebecca Voigt-Miller.
Nice.
Score.
Becca, email Jen, Jen, or JENN at misfitathletics.com.
Don't type
What
double
if she
N.
put double N? It's me. Gotta be me.
That would be so great. Nate Long.
Okay, Nate.
Let's go.
Congratulations.
All kinds of stuff.
All right, now
Um,
we are going to do the random number generator because, you know, I mean, I want my name thrown in there and I don't have any chance. There's no top 20 I could be in.
Right.
Once you get at least 19 more people, I'm out in the world. So let's get some.
You got
Name your
one
street.
rep,
So
bro.
this
One
is
rep.
everyone on the men's
This is
leaderboard?
Is this the higher number one?
21
gave
through
you?
160.
Yeah. So this is the ladies
Ladies, ladies first.
random
I'm
generator.
watching to make sure he doesn't cheat. Hate cheaters. Oh, Paul Pierce.
34.
34. All right, let's check it out.
Paul Pierce, we're sending gear to him.
Yep. Number
Give me
3.
the
Paul, email Jen.
You know what's funny? There's a tie for 33rd, and there's no 34th place.
Oh, what are the odds? Very
What are
low,
the
actually.
odds? All right, redo.
I don't know. I feel like 33 times 2 each needs a prize.
Who has a higher finish?
I
How
think-
about that? How about that?
You could do that.
Or just give them both?
Yeah, let's just do both 33s.
All
do
right,
it.
both 33s.
Yeah.
Jeanette Hines and Emily Cook.
Congratulations.
One more rep and you could have had that gear all to yourself.
But you're still gonna
Never
get
forget about
You're
it.
still going to get the same.
Well,
Maybe
the,
it's like
packages, the
selfish.
packages will be twice as small. So
Yeah.
you guys, no, I'm just kidding.
This
Jeanette Hines,
this
Emily
collusion.
Cook. Please email Jen at misfitathletics.com with your sizes.
AENN.
And
Jen
address.
or Gem?
Gem.
Gemma.
Gem.
Gem at
All right.
hunterfit.com. All right.
All right, now the larger number
21
one.
through 424, right?
Is this a chance for me to win?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. I hope I win. That would be funny.
so great.
There's a
248.
chance,
Number
there's a chance that's me.
248. That's down there.
Yeah,
you got
it's
a
down
shot.
there.
This is making me do math.
Be Hunter.
Please be me.
Josh Maxwell.
Congratulations.
Was it close to me?
Shoot,
No, I was
Josh.
playing
Frick.
300s. All right.
We know Josh
he's
Maxwell.
gonna be pumped.
Josh came to Philly
Oh
camp.
yeah, the Philly camp.
Correct? I like that.
Josh.
Probably has everything we own, so we
That's
might have
true.
to send him some new stuff.
Well,
We'll
we
be
have new
creative.
stuff,
He's been
so-
We have new
losing a
stuff.
bunch of weight. Might need new sizes.
True.
Ooh.
All right. Josh,
Hell yeah,
sizes,
Josh.
address, Jen at misfitathletics.com. There is no tie. There is no second mail. Sure
Sorry.
does not get anything. Do not
Sorry.
pass go. Do not
That's
collect
close.
your free gift.
All right.
Just go to
We
jail.
gave away a bunch of stuff. Said the names. Do we want to speak on the Open now that it's over at all? Any parting words to the 2019, well, the first 2019 Open? One of two. Hooray.
I mean, I look at it as an opportunity. You have a chance now to have a very focused period. It's very weird to have such a small window from you have your results, you can see how you did, you see what you were good at, see what you're bad at, and you have not only a 6-month window to refocus and get better at those things rather than a full year, which people can lose motivation over the course of the whole year. So, if you were right on the doorstep at, whatever your goal was, an opportunity to take that next step, and it's coming soon. I mean, we're going to be back in this room doing the same thing very soon.
I know you're saying 6 months away, but that kind of reassessment, reflection period should probably have already started for a lot of you, but the post-open cycle is a good time to do that because cycle 1 is coming quick.
Coming in
so
hot.
reevaluate whatever that means for you and get ready to go again.
I don't think the sport has any place for someone that just passes over the Open. If you're going team, if you're going individual, if you think you can qualify, if you don't think you can qualify, I think from so many different perspectives, you have to take the Open seriously as your only opportunity to compare yourself on this type of scale, and then have some form of retest where pretty similar movements, pretty similar time domains. Like, yeah, some people might be like, well, 19.1, fuck you, I'm short, that kind of thing. But it's so important to take this seriously no matter what you're doing. And from my perspective, coaching, games level athletes, it's frustrating to see anybody go into it and think like, oh, I'm going to take this year off and maybe go team, or I'm not doing it, and then I'm going to come back next year. And we've been doing this for long enough to know that the people that we hear through social media that are taking time off or taking a year off, we don't ever hear from them again.
Usually
That's
not.
a deep, dark rabbit hole.
Like,
Bye-bye.
of course, there are injuries that take you out of it, but I don't see that the same as I'm going to be a lifter for a little while, or I'm going to go do triathlons now, or I'm going to do this or that. We don't see those names fly back up the leaderboard, and there's just something about pulling yourself out of the culture and not realizing that, oh, man, people are, whatever, snatching 290 now and doing this workout in this much time. That's the new standard. Those are the people that you're chasing, and if you're not continuing to do that, you just get way too far behind. And, maybe you could get back. Maybe it's possible to get there, but a lot of people don't have that level of determination to make up for lost time and get better and chase people all at the same time.
And with this being the first year that 20 qualify, just like when the super regional started, it's only going to get harder and harder and harder. This will probably be the, quote, easiest year to qualify through the Open, and it's just going to get harder.
The thing that I noticed, doesn't really have anything to do with the Open as far as competing in the Open, but what should be eye-opening to people is how much easier it actually might be to qualify at sanctionals than people thought, because the Open is taking it's so inclusive and taking the elites that are going to win those events or podium at those events so often, and they overlap so much that we see now that this is finished, how far down they're going to pass these games invites at these different events that have already happened to people that weren't even on the podium, because so many podium people finished.
There was a
You're better
scenario
off taking 8th at Dubai.
going into the final week of the Open where 9th or 10th place in London was going to go.
Yeah.
And, if you're listening to this, I'm really sorry, but I didn't even know who was in 9th or 10th place.
I mean, why would you?
Right. And it's just one of those things where next year it's going to be glaring because the Open happens before the sanctionals do. Next year is going to be like a lot of strategy when it comes to that. And I found London to be kind of funny. I think people thought like, oh, I got to go to this far and away place, but you have, like Cape Town, it was Sweeney and Sager battling back and forth, and there's a pretty good chance that either one of them could have taken London, which is a 4-hour 5-hour flight and not a
Not
16-hour
16,
flight
right.
or whatever. So guessing who's going to be where, that's kind of especially early on, super early on.
Yeah.
Like, no one's going to want to go here. It's like people care a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do. And yeah, so I just think that there's a lot to be learned from the way that this is shaken out. And it is actually not easier, but it is, people are more able to qualify for the games than they originally thought they'd be able to this year.
Oh yeah.
So we're seeing that it's not easy, not easier. It's just different, but there are so many routes. And if you put yourself out there enough and you're at that competitive level and you're training and doing that, there is a way for you to get in. So like, don't limit yourself, I would say.
It literally just worked the exact opposite way I thought it would. It's just crazy to see that things shake out this way. And we were all so convinced that like you need to go into an obscure one to have a chance because maybe so-and-so wouldn't go.
But we didn't know
now,
the rules then.
That's true.
So
We
they
didn't. We didn't know how
announced
it
the rules
superseded and-
late
yeah.
November. So now that we see how certain things take precedence, like we may have had a different strategy going in. We were guessing back in September
sure.
how things are going to play out. And now that we have the rules, like if we thought this out, we probably would have come to this conclusion. But like we didn't. We just wanted to see how things played out. And now our eyes are pretty open to it. And I don't know how many other people are realizing this, but it seems pretty obvious to me.
Yeah.
I think until we get a season where next season where the open kind of comes first, next year is going to be just as kind of challenging. And as an athlete, you really have to be flexible, where we said you might want to just kind of prep and get ready and give it all at one competition. Like you're saying, there are more opportunities and it might be more beneficial to take, who knows when a 3rd or 4th place finish at a random competition is actually going to earn you an invite to the game. So you just have to be flexible and willing to kind of make that sacrifice.
Yep. Pick a couple spots, train for them, put yourself out there, get ready for the open. Bunch of ways to get in now. Kind of cool, actually. So, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Any more thoughts on the open?
No, I'm over it.
Over it?
I'm over it.
So what do you do if you didn't qualify? What's your programming going to look like?
Oh,
heck
interesting.
no.
I don't know. I'm going to go explore a couple options. Or stick with
stay
us.
right here.
Stick with us. Post-open cycle starts on Monday. We're doing a little partner action right now just to give you guys a break mentally and physically to get ready for some training. Post-open is always lower volume, and it's always there's no extra pick 1, pick 2 pieces. It's just a very straightforward, simple training day. We mix things up in the sense that we keep things simple, yet always giving you the simple things to practice on different days. So you'll hit your chest to bar, you'll hit your handstand push-ups, you'll hit your running, you hit your rowing. It's just really mixed up. So if you have specific weaknesses, now's the time of year you could use those weakness templates we have, plug them in an extra piece, plug them in instead of mixing up the gymnastics as often. Lots of ways to do that. And if you are just following the blog or Hatchet as written, just make sure you spend extra time on the movements you struggled with when they come up. Make that the focus of your day. I'm not going to get too deep of a dive into this. We're going to do some strength work, a conditioning piece every day that will be both, it can be a Metcon or an interval or whatever. Gymnastics will be a mix of skill and some bit gymnastics, and then bodybuilding. So I'm going to jump into bodybuilding just because it's a little different. We haven't really done it before. We just all shot a little like fun, goofy video demoing some of the movements you guys will do. Basically, this is the last piece or extra piece for the day. So you have 3 pieces that are really centered around your training: the strength, the conditioning, and the gymnastics. So those are kind of the nuts and bolts of a CrossFit program. And then the bodybuilding is an extra. So some of you people out there who just consume volume, you can't help it. You spend all day in the gym. I'd rather you do a little hypertrophy work, a little extra, maybe help strengthen some of the joints that get rattled around with all the kipping and explosive movements, just some real basic strength stuff. So we have things like seated press, even calf raises, dumbbell curls, leg extensions with a band, hamstring curls, dumbbell bench, you name the old traditional bodybuilding movements, and there's a chance we have it in here. A lot of them are, there's 2 of them per day, 2 movements per day. So for example, one day we'd have like a banded tricep extension and a split squat. I would recommend, for time's sake and for kind of the style of athlete that CrossFitters are,
Superset.
Yeah, superset them together.
Superset.
Yeah, just do a set of tricep extensions and then a set of split squats and back and forth.
No hips.
And yeah. None of that.
Extremity to extremity.
Yeah, that's right. So
Like my Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Let's just say this. You're going to be sore because you ain't using your whole body to move yourself around in this. So you're going to isolate areas and you're going to get sore and you're going to have fun with it. And that's the extra volume. So if you want something extra that's outside of a weakness template, that's not something glaring, like this is what we're plugging in, because we don't need people to beat the hell out of themselves in the off season coming into cycle 1, which in my opinion is the hardest cycle of the year because it's so demanding with the specifics of the things you have to do. Long endurance bitch work things, really heavy lifting multiple times a week, really demanding metcons, where this is very simple, straightforward, and should be a little more fun. Anyone want to?
So I really like the cycle with my athletes that I work with remotely, because you have the open, you have this little window into 5 weeks where you have to like pour your heart and soul into a workout as hard as you can. And guess what? It's not that your volume that's holding you back from doing well in those workouts.
Right.
In most cases, it's that you don't have that gear. You don't have that 6th gear to go into, and you can't push when others can push, on the last set of chest to bar pull-ups, or they're able to dial in and walk on their hands when they're really, really tired. Like, those are things I think can come to the forefront of your training and go, all right, well, it wasn't because I didn't do 17 pieces a day. It's because I couldn't push as hard as I wanted to. This is the perfect opportunity to redial things back in and really talk about, like, we used to talk about post-open cycle, like crush yourself with one metcon and then work on your gymnastics, do a little bit of lifting on the side, and you're going to refocus and be ready for cycle 1, as opposed to, just like you said, not beat up and dragging your feet into cycle 1.
And you like set up a perfect example. So like somebody who was struggling with that handstand walk and they need to isolate that and improve on that in the off season, one of the pieces in the gymnastics column, just happened to have it highlighted randomly, is every 2 minutes for 12 minutes, 50-foot handstand walk. And the point is to complete the length as fast as possible. So we're looking at how fast you can shift your weight back and forth in your arms, how fast you can actually move forward as you get more and more fatigued as the rounds go on. Like it becomes
your positioning.
Exactly. It becomes more and more difficult. So it's really isolated outside of the workout. So if that's something that you were struggling with, this is the time of year where it's like, okay, I have the 40 minutes for this piece. Like, it's only a 12-minute piece. I'm going to practice. I'm going to warm up, mobilize correctly, like get my heart rate up before I do this. Take it really seriously, as opposed to just throwing it into the middle as the 3rd or 4th movement in a metcon when you don't give it any thought. So that's exactly right on that. And that's what the gymnastics will look like throughout. There's some death by stuff. There's sets for time with like little EMOM things that will break up the movement.
Buy in with something and then do gymnastics.
Really simple, nothing super complicated, but it's just a good dose of gymnastics each day so that you're not neglecting anything. And when the movement does come up that has held you back, you get a chance to hit it and hit it hard. Anyone want to take a look at the strength and just throw out their thoughts on that?
Well, I think that Sherb and I had the conversation this morning for a while about programming versus execution.
Yeah.
Like what's more important. And there's just nothing that we can write down that can take place of what the athlete does.
Yeah, not at all.
And unfortunately, from an aspect, just an aspect of like business and like the way that, us and other companies put stuff out there. Yes, we are trying to sell a program, but at the end of the day, I think that we've done what we've done because we've convinced people to work hard for a long time. Like, here it is. It's out there. This is really what it takes. We keep adjusting what it takes based on what it actually takes. We get to see it day in and day out from the highest level athletes that there are. And this is the perfect time of year because you could read what you guys are saying in 2 different ways. Oh, I get like 5 weeks off before cycle 1. I'll go in, I'll have a little fun.
Yep.
I'll do this, I'll do that. And that could put you in the wrong place going into cycle 1. I mean, we all know week 1, cycle 1.
Hard to change gears.
How sore you are.
Yes.
Week 1, cycle 1. Well, how sore would you be if you didn't try in the cycle prior to that? Or you can look at it and say, okay, I have less to do. This can be hyper-focused. I can treat a conditioning piece. Like if I see it and I start to have that negative connotation, like make myself go through that open routine of like, this is it.
Yep.
This is all I got. Like really important to focus in on that. And it's going to be easier. You're almost building up that mental stamina as things get harder for the rest of the year. It's easier to focus solely on that thing.
Yep.
You pick that thing out and like, I can really do this. I can give it hell. And I know that by the end of this, I'm going to be ready for a little more. But there's a lot of different ways to interpret this, the message, and we can say what we want to say. And, I'm sure there'll be, some motivational type stuff that we put out on social media. But at the end of the day, when you look at this, you should say, oh, wow, this is really doable. I'm going to fucking crush this.
You've basically defined why somebody should have a coach, a remote coach.
Yeah.
Because 90% of the time, that is what it takes to train, like you said. And people can have that attitude of looking at it like, oh, there isn't much today. Like, it's an off season. Like, I can be kind of lax. And in some circumstances, athletes would need that day. Like athletes extend themselves way too far between coaching too many classes, doing, especially the competitive ones, doing too much traveling and everything else, and they've completely wiped themselves out. Yet they don't understand when they need to push,
right,
and when they need the day to back it down. And so, I mean, they can go by feel, but instead of actually going by feel, they justify bullshit in their head as to like when they should go, when they shouldn't go, what they should change, instead of having a coach who's like very objective and saying, this is how this should be today. Today, you do need to back it down and like keep the percentages low. And you're right. You're like, for the most part, vast majority, especially those who understand whether they should be following this or hatchet appropriately, should go at it with the intensity. The volume is very manageable.
Absolutely.
If you're trying to be competitive, and they got to hit it. And I want to shake some athletes. Like, you don't understand how to do this yet. And no matter how many times we tell them this is how it needs to be done, it's like we're getting the opposite pushback from somebody's psyche who is convincing them to do otherwise. And like, yeah, you're right. So the instruction you gave everybody is how they should be looking at it. But you also like defined exactly why someone would need a coach or a remote coach or whatever else, like, because they don't understand.
And the strength specifically, like the strength part, that's as easy as it gets. Like 3 to 5 sets, 3 to 5 reps when it comes to the slower stuff, singles, doubles, and triple. You know what I mean? Like,
nothing
these things
sexy.
Are age old, and if that's the case, then who is the onus on? It's on the athlete.
Right.
If you don't move right, the percentage is too high. That's just a fact.
Yep.
Maybe, just maybe, your poor form got you not so great of a max, and it all kind of lines up. But we see people will their way through some terrifying lifts during, a testing portion, but then volume. I mean, 4 sets of 4 at a not so great. I mean, it's at 70, 80%, whatever it is. That's a real challenge, and unfortunately, that's the place where you're gonna hurt yourself and not be able. Cycle 1's going to be an afterthought.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
you gotta
herniate a few discs, and
I feel like you got to have kind of the long game in mind with the post-open cycle. Just like you're saying, treating each piece with intent, moving the lifting portions like correctly, realizing that, maybe you're not going to get, your gains aren't going to be revealed after the 5-6 week cycle, but you are building into the season. The season is not until, well, whatever it is for you, but not until the Open in 6 months from now. So have the long game in mind. And that focus takes practice. Like, it takes like actual practice to willingly go in there and look at a workout and say, this is how I need to attack it. This is how I'm going to kick myself into that 6th gear like you're talking about. But that is not a like God-given natural like thing. You need to practice that.
So you just got 5 weeks to practice, warming up the right way, priming the right way, mobilizing, strategy, whatever you had in mind. You just had 5 weeks of practice. If you can now take that and extend that and think about your training similar to the open workouts, I mean, without giving yourself too much undue stress, but you think about it as seriously as you do those workouts, you're going to get a lot from the cycle. You just kind of go through the motions. You're just going to be wasting your time, or you're, picking and choosing whether you want to jump into affiliate class or turn something into a partner workout. Like, people need sometimes mental days, but like, it's really easy to have those mental days turn into, oh, I fell out of shape for 3 weeks and then I'm trying to get back in shape in cycle 1, rather than just being ready to go when it comes time to go.
The other thing is, if intensity is where you need to pick it up because you didn't have that gear that you keep talking about, you don't have to do 4 pieces.
Absolutely not.
You can do 2 or 3 and have a training day and a half out of it if you do it right.
I mean, look at these two. You two are arguably, we could say, as fit as you've ever been in your entire life.
Yeah.
And you guys lift together 3 or 4 times a week, Metcon together 3 or 4 times a week, don't do very much extra volume at all, other than your creepy basement photos you always post on Instagram.
It's only calf raises. I'm trying to get ready for post-open cycle 1.
They do less volume than hatchet, and they're some of the fittest misfits there are.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. I mean, we have to keep reading your fucking name on the leaderboard every week.
I know, so I guess.
And you don't train that much, but when you train, he's always crawling around dramatically out in the gym, just more sweat than you could ever imagine. Like, he puts it out there. He does his 3 to 5 sets of 3 to 5 reps with intent, and ta-da.
I found more benefit from just refocusing and thinking about how I move and like actually dialing into the training than just I used to be one of those like FOMO people. Like I gotta get 6 pieces in every single day. I mean, I still feel that way sometimes, but it's very different than it used to be, where I used to jump into all those pieces, and now it's just like, you know, I have 90 minutes today. I'm gonna go really, really hard, and that's it, and then refocus for tomorrow, rather than just trying to just do a piece, do a piece, do a piece, do a piece. It's just, you know, mindless. And an example, you have a lot of free time now that you're not training smart.
Yeah. I mean, this is as simple as it gets, so I'm not going to try to like break this down in a way that is going to make people think about it more than they need to. You just got to get in the gym, focus on the small amount of training you have, and get the most out of it that you can. And like I said, if you have a movement that comes up or a specific weakness, you can spend more than half of your training day preparing, completing, and then kind of whatever, cooling down or whatever from that one piece. You can take that and make that the majority of your training day. You do have that luxury this time of year. If you do have a competition coming up, which a lot of people do, this may not be the program for you. You might want to do the competitors prep that we talked about earlier in the show, and that's available on the website. And we'll be having a totally different conversation if that's the case. But if you're the type that's preparing for cycle 1 and then into the open or into something that might be coming later in 2019 or 2020, then everything we just talked about is applicable to you. So.
Absolutely.
I think like key take homes here. Cycle 1 is in May this year.
May 6th.
Yeah, May 6th. Cycle 1. I know that's weird for a lot of people. They expect that to be post games, but obviously the season has changed. The competition tracks, you can, you know, if your window's shorter, start at the beginning, not in the middle or the end, right? Because the percentages just won't make any sense.
Conversation with an athlete, that exact same conversation,
and go right into that deload. There are a lot of changes going on in our sport, but we're doing everything to dig even deeper into, you know, what we have to change and how we have to get better for you guys. So it's all going to be there, and as we keep changing it, as we figure out what the heck is going on, we'll do more podcasts.
Pass it along, pass it along.
Yeah. Real quick. Talk competition prep.
Yeah, go ahead. Hunter, we'll talk about Masters for post open. Then I got a couple quick things to hit.
Yeah, I'll be quick. The Masters very similar to the regular blog. The lifting, I put a little bit more emphasis on kind of positional stuff. As far as the lifting, the slow lifts will have a tempo associated with them. So I'm looking for a little bit more time under tension and positions, which also obviously reduces the total amount that you can lift, and that's intentional. And then the Olympic lifting actually kind of bleeds into cycle 1. So it's not that if you just pick up with cycle 1, you'll be behind, but this is a little bit, I've kind of extended the weightlifting out a little bit longer to give you enough time in certain positions in the post-open cycle so that cycle 1, we can continue to like roll into that stuff. Conditioning is pretty standard. We've got accessory, some bodybuilding stuff mixed in there, similar to the blog. And then there's a handful of strict gymnastics work that I think is pretty foundational for going into cycle 1 and is just generally kind of absent in a lot of athletes' kind of toolkits. And then as far as the extra pieces, there is, like Seth said, there's the 3 mandatory pieces, the lift, conditioning, and the accessory piece. And then there is the extra online qualifier, and 1 or 2 days a week is mobility. So if you are not going to follow the age group online qualifier prep track, the 5-week track, which is completely separate, you can still hit one of the extra pieces. That extra piece is still geared towards the online qualifier. And if you, for whatever reason, feel you need that extra volume, that piece is going to be there on the blog. I don't necessarily recommend it, but it is available.
But you wrote it.
But I wrote it. It is there, and people want it.
It's finally, I think this is actually a really cool thing to talk about quickly, is the Masters division is finally getting to that point where it's not like a shoo-in to be in that top 200 in any of the divisions, especially the younger you get. And what that means is we have to write multiple programs now.
Yeah.
Some people have asked, why are these things separate? And it's because there's some damn good athletes that did not qualify, and we need a plan for them. you know, which is typically the majority versus, you know, someone who's going into that age group online qualifier. So it's cool to see the Masters progress in that way. And that's why.
Yeah. No, but other than that, pretty straightforward.
So
the talk competition track.
Yeah, sort of. First of all, if you've qualified for the games, the competition track is not your games programming. I mean, it would certainly work, but it's not the games program. So we are going to have a separate games program that'll be ready in June, and it'll be, if I'm being frank, terrible, but slightly boring, because at this point, the best way to score points at the games is to be monostructurally sound, strong, and have some gymnastic stuff. And they combine things less and less and less in the games tests every year and separate things more and more and more. So your training is going to be probably as structured as it would be, or more structured than it would be any other time of year, to try to get you ready for some of the tests that we see at the CrossFit Games compared to what we see in the open or sanctioned events. So while this would be kind of the competition prep would be a sexier way to prepare for it, it's not the style of the actual games program that we're going to be writing for those of you that want to do that. That being said, pick your poison. On top of that, if you've qualified for the games and you're one of those that is a national champion or someone we don't know about, make sure you reach out to us. You can probably either DM's not a good idea. We get too many of those. Email Jen. She'll steer you in the right direction, jenn@misfitathletics.com. We'll try to get you set up and explain the best way to approach from now until the games if you're in that position. As far as the competition track goes, for those of you that are going to be competing between now and the games, like I said earlier in the show, 7 weeks long. It's 6 weeks of training with 1 week of deload. That deload week is supposed to bring you into competition week, where you typically compete that Friday or Saturday. If you have less than that allotted time to prepare, you would still start on week 1 and prepare as far as you can until you're at that week, at which point you would jump straight to the deload week. Do not try to jump ahead, because the percentages are not going to be favorable for you. If you try to jump to week 3 or week 4 and prepare from there into deload week, you're putting yourself in a deficit. I'd rather see you start at the beginning, make it as far as you can, and head to the direction of peaking, and then take the deload. And that's the best that we could offer you with a shortened training window. So that's how I'd suggest you take that on. Like I said, that's available now, teams and individuals, and of course the Masters Online Qualifier Program. Lots of options this year, guys. Lots of options. So that's that. Anything else? Final words? Are we forgetting anything? We've stolen half of their day now with this podcast.
Get back to work.
Yeah, really. Get off your phone. All right, that's it. We'll be back in touch with everybody shortly with some more updates. We got lots of things coming your way in the next couple months, so stay tuned. See ya.
See you guys.
Later.